to go, hey, I got a webcam, and here I am.
Let me play YouTube.
It's like, if these other people can do it, I certainly can.
Yeah, right.
Personality when I'm amped up on coffee or just tired as shit.
That's funny. Oh, are we live already? Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're there.
Oh, okay.
And my dad is calling me. We're live right now?
Here we are.
All right, I will have to call my parents back later.
Yeah, they can wait. Comics first. Come on, man.
So Dan's fixing his camera or his microphone there.
Yeah, so here we are.
You're good.
The Reading Pile Live at 5, Episode 2. Rob, thank you for joining us. And just some housekeeping for, the 3 people checking in and expecting us to go live every week. This will probably be the last show of November just because I have a wedding anniversary, 15 years next weekend. And then weekend after that is the holiday. So there's that. Having said that, guys, you want to introduce yourselves and shout out your social media?
Yeah, go ahead, Rob. You go first, man.
Oh, well, thank you very much. This is Tony Fett below me. He is awesome. My name is Rob Wurst. I run a YouTube channel also by the name of Rob Wurst because I'm that uncreative. But I do have on 2 other people to help me be a little bit more creative. Their names are Lady Fantastic. She's also on Instagram. Also, we have Miracle Man that just joined our show 2 weeks ago. So that is our team of Not Near Mint. You can find Miracle Man on Twitter as Komoda1977. Otherwise, I'm all over the damn place, whether it's social media, except Facebook. I will not touch Facebook because screw you, Facebook.
Heard that. So, Rob, Miracle Man was the guy who wouldn't show his. Hey, Rod. He wouldn't show his face on camera.
Yep, that's the guy because.
That's cool.
There's a reason for it. He has about twice as many followers as I do on Twitter, and that's mostly as a result of the certain type of community in comics that are very toxic to other people. Sure. He fights against those people, and a lot of people support him. So I wanted to have one subject on the show talking about that. And as a result, he said, yeah, I'm willing to join you week after week. But please don't show my face. I can understand why. Don't say my name. I can understand why. But,
but he didn't say you couldn't give him your address out. So, for the record.
But I thought the Ugly Cover show was very entertaining. It made me actually pull out this embossed Human Torch cover that
I've got that one
actually showed. Oh, you got one too. Mine's newsstand though, Rob. Mine's better.
I won mine at Dave & Buster's. Like you could pile your tickets in, and I wasn't coming back, and then you could get comics. So I got a random go bag of comics, and I got one.
And here are some other like head scratching 1990s.
Yeah, what is that
image? This is Shadowhawk.
Oh,
and it's just like, well, let's just make it embossed and put it out. These are ugly covers. All right, Tony, what's going on with you, bro?
Nothing. I'm Tony Fett. You can find me on Instagram at TonyFett_talks. I host a show called The Collection Connection. I don't really have a schedule. My schedule is based off of viewers. So whoever I can get on to come to the show, that's when I film. But tonight I will be on the retro review with Tim the Comic Collector and Comic Fu 2814 tonight. So that's at 9 p.m. Eastern. So definitely check that out. Talking about Blackest Night.
Like Green Lantern stuff?
Green Lantern stuff. We're all 3 big Green Lantern fans, so it's perfect. It's a match made in
heaven.
Did
you read the new series that just dropped this Wednesday?
No. I mean, I haven't had a chance to thumb through it yet.
Did you read the end of the last series when Green Lantern became Deathlok the Green Lantern?
Yes.
So I don't know if it started with the new series being Deathlok Green Lantern, but it's just it's a giant stack this week. So I'll get to it. I just wanted to hear somebody else's opinion first.
It doesn't matter. I love Green Lantern, so they could put out just trash, and I'd probably still buy it.
So,
His
Tony, what did you
is the best than some other people.
What did you think of the Grant Morrison Green Lantern?
I love the Grant Morrison Lantern. In fact, I have, the really awesome, #1 variant right here. So this is a good. I mean, there are some parts of it that I think aren't that great. Like, ooh, the Green Lantern arrested God. How controversial! Like, come on, man! Like, it's a story, and then people were, up in arms, like, oh my God, it's God. And he's being arrested by a fictional character. Like, relax.
I think the whole God and Jesus thing was why Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil left the series to begin with. They were doing an issue, 89? And you have Christ on the cross, or at least I think it was on that cover. So a nice little red cover. I have it even signed by Martin O'Dell. But that was like the last issue. And then you didn't see any more Green Lantern for 10 years.
Overall, it's a great story. I definitely recommend it. Even if you pick it up on trade paperback, it's a fact.
What was the last Grant Morrison Green Lantern? Did it end at 13 or something?
I haven't read the last one, but I have 12. It's the deceased variant, which is also
that's cool. I stopped reading it at like 10. I found it very hit and miss. It was like love an issue, don't like an issue for me.
True. I can. In fact, I've heard that from many people, but like I said, my opinion is completely biased. I absolutely love Green Lantern. Full disclosure.
Rob, I saw your stack this week. Anything stand out for you?
Out of everything that I've read thus far, Immortal Hulk has been the read of the week for me because
you like that.
What was that?
You like that?
The new issue, yes, because 25 was like a philosopher's tale on acid mixed with a little bit of Franz Kafka.
Yes, it was.
Hey, the leader at the end. Like, okay, I know I'm sober. I'm a goddamn teetotaler watching this unfold before my eyes. I don't know what I just read. I open up 26, and it is the manifesto of Bruce Banner. The world is no longer sustainable. As he's telling this diatribe, it interjects different sections of him meeting up with Braun, Amadeus Cho. It's a really well-written, well-laid-out issue. So we thought we were going to be ending with issue 25 on Immortal Hulk. No, we are just getting started with 26.
That book is hot right now, for sure.
I don't know. I didn't like issue 25 until the end. I don't know. There was a lot of Amadeus Cho stuff, and I don't know. He's kind of a token character. Let's be real. But the Namor and Minotaur characters showing up at the end was definitely very cool. So
awesome. Who's going first? Not me. Not it.
Oh, about the Green Lantern. These are the last Green Lanterns to come out. So,
I'll go. I guess it'll be. Oh, yeah. There you go, Rob.
12, where it's Deathlok Green Lantern, and I guess this is Hal Jordan after he turned into Deathlok, but I haven't read either. Well, I've read this one. I haven't gotten a chance for this yet.
Very cool. Yeah, the DC variant covers have been really awesome in my opinion lately.
They 9 times out of 10, well, 7 times out of 10, they do a really nice job with their
They're just no. Okay.
Wait until the end of this show. It's going to drop down to 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But that DCeased is a good story. It's definitely. I personally like it better than Marvel Zombies, but whatever.
And Marvel has Marvel Zombies going on at the same time as Contagion. DC has Year of the Villain going on at the same time as Tales of the Dark Multiverse, and they're deceased. So I don't know exactly how everything's supposed to line up. What's what? It's such a dilution of product at this moment that keeping up with so many titles and parsing out what for what character has just imploded my mind lately.
From what I understand, I think DCeased is just its own standalone story. Like,
True.
It doesn't affect anything. It's its own little story. So,
and it's over.
Kind of nice. Yeah, and it's over. There's some really cool twists and turns in that story. So.
Yeah, the Harley Quinn issue, which wasn't that great. That dropped was like her trying to stop the world of DC crossovers. So hey, it was hit and miss as far as the humor. But.
I'm not a huge Harley Quinn fan.
I knew this.
You knew that, but I don't know why. I don't see the appeal. I don't understand it, but whatever. I like Harley Quinn when she's evil and manipulative and unpredictable like the Joker. Not a good person.
Totally get it. Her issues are definitely hit and miss. Her regular title, it is a humor title, and I mean her origins are in humor, but people hate it, and sometimes it's good. But Psycho Harley is
the better of the Harley.
Is the best, yes. So Come on, Tony, what you got to show us? This is a show-off show, man.
Okay, all right, let's get to it. So let me get comfortable here. Let me flip over to my cool camera. This isn't like a super duper expensive key, but it's definitely a key nonetheless. So I decided to include it just because it's definitely a lot of fun. Remember speculating back in the day, people thought they were going to put their kids through college and pay off their mortgage with this book. So that's kind of neat. And included, I mean, I want to get this graded. I know they're going to take it out of the plastic, so I went ahead and took it out of the plastic for them. But I definitely kept all the cool stuff.
Oh, very cool. The armband.
Yeah, the commemorative armband. There's a poster in here. You get some cool like stamps or stickers or whatever these are. So I kept all those. But actual keys. This is the first appearance of Power Girl from 1976, All-Star Comics number 58. It's in all right shape. I definitely am on the lookout for another one, but this is a really cool book. I think this one's going to go up in value a lot because it's Power Girl. I think she's going to appear some point in the movie. This is the
Crisis on Infinite Earths. Do you think she's going to be appearing in the crossover event coming up? I guess this month.
I'm sure at least it'll be at least a cameo. Like maybe a camera pan, and we'll see her. But I'm not sure. Up next, I got the first appearance of the new Robin suit, and this is Batman number 457 from 1990. Sorry, I couldn't remember the year. Pretty cool. There's a couple different versions out there, different prints and stuff, but this is the first print, which is nice. First Spectre in title. It's his own title. This is from 1967. Really cool. I'm a huge Spectre fan. I love it. I think he needs his own DC Black Label book for sure because his origins are he's a very violent person. I think he would fit perfect for a DC Black Label. This book is red hot right now. Shazam number 28 from 1973 or 74. I don't know. I didn't put it on there, but this is the first appearance of Black Adam in the DC universe since the Golden Age. So that's big The Rock movie coming out. So that'll be awesome. Up next, let's go with the Shadow and his first DC issue. And this is from 1973. This one's in pretty good shape. The only thing is there's a little bit of grease pen right there, but luckily does not count against the grade. Moving on, we have Legends number 3. Yeah, I bet it would. I have some actually. I have some. Legends number 3 from 1987. This is the first appearance of the Suicide Squad. I have the whole run, so each kind of issue is its own key in a way, but in my opinion, that one's the more popular of them. This is Forever People number 5, and this one has a couple different keys in it. So this is the first mention of the anti-life equation, and the first loner appearance from 1971. So. I think at some point DC is going to bring in the anti-life for sure.
Is that a Kirby title, Forever People?
It is. One, right? It is. I think it is a Kirby. Yeah. This is definitely Kirby. So for all you Kirby fans out there, and then I'm kind of going out of order. The Forever People number 2 from the same run. Let's see if I can get that to stay. So that's kind of awesome, and that is. First Mantis and first Desaad appearance.
Curious, Tony, have you read these at all, or did you just?
I read them digitally. I didn't read the actual books because they're, especially these older ones. I want to preserve them for as long as possible. Let me give myself a little bit more room here. Moving on, I have the first appearance of Plastique from 1982. It's Firestorm number 7. Who knows? I don't think she's going to maybe appear in a movie, but, I think Plastique, didn't she appear in The Flash for an episode?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. This one is cool. We definitely saw her on TV. The first appearance of Killer Frost.
Oh, yes.
So that's a cool issue from Firestorm number 3. Speaking of Firestorm, first Firestorm issue from 1977. Yeah. So that's going to be key. Maybe he'll appear in the movie. Maybe not his own movie, but I think he'll definitely probably appear somewhere in the DCEU. This one's cool. This is the second Darkseid appearance, first Darkseid cover.
Very impressive, Rob.
First Deep Six. That is New Gods number 2.
A lot of these.
That's cool. And now kind of moving on out of DC. I don't really collect a whole lot of anything other than DC, but I have the first Alien versus Predator appearance. That is Dark Horse Presents number 36. I'm a huge Alien and Predator fan. I have the first Alien versus Predator in title.
I have that. Yeah,
that's a cool one.
Yeah.
And then I have the actual first Predator appearance in comics. And on the wall here, the first Alien in a comic, first appearance of Alien in a comics. I do have this one graded at 9.6. So that's kind of neat. I got a lot of cool issues on the wall, graded stuff, but I mean, if we're talking like cool books that have, been autographed, like, oh man, I should have brought this one out. This is the first Suicide Squad Untitled, but this one is cool because it is autographed down here in the corner by John Ostrander.
So Tony, are you a Suicide Squad fan? You brought up.
Absolutely, I love the Suicide Squad. Some of their titles are hit and miss, but overall, I do enjoy them.
I was reading it for a while. Any opinions on the movies? You got
love the movies.
Love the movie, guys.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
You did like it.
Yep. Loved it so much I bought on Blu-ray.
I liked it too. I mean, it wasn't a fantastic movie, but it was certainly entertaining.
I enjoyed it. Shazam number 1, graded at a 9.0. Back over here, I've got first Booster Gold, 9.6. I think Booster Gold at one point was slated for a movie. I think.
He's been in Smallville. He's been in the Legions of Superheroes show. He was supposed to get a show, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah. I believe it. These are just kind of some of the random grades that I've gotten. Nothing exciting, but this whole first drawer, everything on this side, this is these are all autographs. So I could do a show.
What is that HQ title that you just went over?
What is it?
There was a Harley Quinn title there.
Oh, I know which one it is too. For the life of me,
no big deal. There it is.
This is the Harley Quinn 27th or 25th anniversary special.
Okay, cool.
This one, I only picked it up because the guy who did this particular cover, Mr. Ken Hunt, I do know him, and he goes to Baltimore Comic-Con a lot. He's a local comic book cover artist. He actually did Batman, some work on the Talon issues when Talon was huge. So, they commissioned him to do these covers, which is nice. So I got him to sign it. Why not? But, that's kind of all the cool, super key issues. But, man, if we're doing autographs, I'm going to need, probably the rest of the show. But,
you're going to need your whole show, right?
Yeah, for sure. But
marathon.
So Tony, you're pretty much a CBCS slabber.
I am. And the reason I kind of look more at CBCS versus CGC is because when I didn't know anything about graded comics for years, so when I've accumulated all these autographs, and I wanted to slab them, but obviously CGC is just going to say, someone wrote something on the cover or whatever. Right. And I wanted something more than that, at least acknowledge a signature. And I discovered CBCS and their signature verification program, and I didn't need to be a member. And then I was hooked after that.
Yeah. The CBCS boards are great, actually, too.
Yes. If anyone is not on the CBCS boards, I recommend it. It's a lot of fun, and there is a ton of knowledge on that board, too. So if you ever have a comic book question, odds are there are several people that can rattle it off the top of their head.
And folks are friendly there, too.
They are very friendly. I've never had a problem with anybody there, except for the people who don't like the same football team as me. But that's not can't really help that. Not everybody's perfect.
I make it really easy. I just don't watch football.
And Rob, you don't slab.
I do not. I would rather have the book than a grade. I can wait until I'm 50, 60, and if whatever company has come out on top after the CGC, CBCS, PGX, and then all the European countries, after they battle it out, sure. Whichever one's going to come out on top, by that time I'll be old enough to go, well, I don't think I need this in my 70s anymore, and my back hurts. I'd rather take care of my back. How about I get rid of some things? I don't know. Maybe I can get rid of something like, I don't know, this.
Oh, that's right.
About 40 years from now. Yeah. But until cool. Then, I would just rather have the actual book than go, well, I have these like 3 graded books, or I could say I have these 10 books. I'll take the 10 books every single time.
Yeah, I've talked to people too. They want to enjoy their books and look at them besides the cover, and definitely can respect that. So.
But if someone wants a graded book, I can't hold that against them. Everybody collects for a different reason and a different way. There's no really right or wrong way as long as you're not like destroying them with Cheeto fingers or folding them over as you're reading. There's really no wrong way to collect.
So my first one is this Strange Tales. Is it 107? Yes, it's 107 from 1963. Steve Borick actually posted on his IG account that he was grading this, and
was that your issue he was grading?
Okay. But I instantly was like, wow, what a fantastic looking cover. I loved it. I am not Mr. Silver Age, Mr. Golden Age, or anything like that, but something about this cover just spoke to me. I thought it was very, very cool. And I was actually surprised because, it's obscure enough that it looks like there would only be about maybe 5 or 10 copies on eBay. But there's like 20 or 30 in various grades. And as well as the kids say, raw. Here's another one. I can't say that this is one of my favorite books per se, but this is a book that I got on the CBCS boards. I do like Natalie Sanders' art. She is a real sweetheart as well. She interacts with folks on her social media. And I am a Harley Quinn fan. I saw this and I was like, yeah, I'd like to have it. This is the convention exclusive. You can only get it at the I don't remember the convention, but anyways, the guy was soliciting that he was going to. It was an obscure convention too, like Utah or something. The gentleman on the CBCS boards, he put the word out. He would pick the copy up, and he would get it graded. And fantastique. I was very pleased. So, but I mean, this goes to how cool the CBCS boards are. I mean, I bought this. I bought this next one on the CBCS boards as well. Tony, when I was first on your show, I think I showed this off. Someone was selling a Batman Adventures 12 CBCS 9.8 for about $1,100. And that was at that time.
Rob's got one.
Oh my God, Rob! I'm impressed, man.
Rob got everything.
It was about $500 cheaper than the median. When I got it, I found out why. There's just a little bit of wear that you're not going to be able to see here that isn't characteristic of a 9.8.
It's still a 9.8. So
yeah.
Once it's in the slab, it doesn't matter.
Oh,
I mean, the little holders that keep them in place, I've seen it where old slabs, they get knocked around, and then all of a sudden, instead of being level inside, it's now a little crooked, and it could have been banged around, and it's definitely not a 9.8 anymore, but you put it up online, it's still a 9.8.
Well, no, I mean, the handful of times you have to bring that up, full disclosure. But yeah. But I mean, this was mentioned in the grader notes, and this is actually originally in a Rivet label. And when they did that special, when they were moving to this label, I sent it back in, and I mean, if it was a truly egregious error, they would have told me and probably regraded it. So I'm cool with that.
As long as it came back in 9.8, who cares?
Yep. And this is a fun one. And it actually
do you want to make yourself bigger there, Dan?
Yeah, I should, shouldn't I? Yeah, solo.
Roll up.
There you go.
Yeah. This is actually showing off the CBCS art label too. Have either of you guys heard of artist Chadwick Cameron?
The name, I've heard the name, but I don't think I'm too familiar with.
I can't say that I
anything, just the name.
I cannot remember exactly where I heard of him, but I became aware of his work, and I mean, it's fantastic rendering of just. I mean,
that is that's a photograph, basically.
Yeah, I mean, he's a photorealistic artist, and it's.
And when I see the grade coming back as art, is that typical?
Well, they have an art designation, so and that's another thing that's very cool about CBCS. You can apply for the art label. Chadwick Harlequin works with CBCS, and we did this. He used to do. I'm not sure if he does this anymore, but he used to do a Black Friday sale where you could get these copies, slabs included, for around $200. And let me show some more of.
That's an amazing art. I mean, art like that just makes me angry because I'm like, I can't do that. I wish I had that talent.
I think that's artists everywhere when they see somebody that is just phenomenal artist. And they produce a piece where they just go, I hate you because you're so good.
Exactly. Wow, he did that one?
Yeah, there's some more Chadwick stuff.
There's no way that he drew that? You know,
yeah, man, it's crazy.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
Did he draw that on the cover, or was that the cover after it was printed?
Sketch variant.
So sketch variant, not that he sketched on that exact.
Oh no, he did. This is a blank variant. He did this.
That's insanity.
Yeah,
for one book. One book.
That's awesome. I'm jealous of that. Oh, he did the whole line. Look at that.
Some Julie Newmar. I mean, it's just like they look like photographs. It's crazy.
They do. That's insane. Insane.
It's a Walking Dead one.
That's a cool Maggie Walking Dead.
Yeah, I mean, do a web search for, and I mean, he used to do Black Friday sales, and I every year I would, I would
He'd get you.
I would get totally. But this was this was it for me. This was whew.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I was very pleased. Any of y'all read Hillbilly?
I've read issue 1, but that's about as far as I made it.
My LCS didn't pick it up after issue 1, and I forgot about it. And then, hey, look, Goon issue number 1, another series came out, and I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Eric Powell and Albatross Funny Books. I pretty much will pick up everything they put out.
Same.
But I have a ton of sketch covers. I love sketch covers. I draw a little bit, and I just love to see with what confidence and markings, whatever, how your various artists draw. And I really think Hillbilly was an outstanding indie series. I would say it's about the hillbilly Rondell and his cast of characters, and just a really fantastic story. Eric, he just finished up the 25th anniversary Goon tour. I went to the start of that in March in Nashville, Tennessee. Got to talk to him. It was really fun. And so, yeah, it made me appreciate my Hillbilly, Eric Powell signature series, all that much more. So,
Awesome.
Yeah. And here is another one. Either of you guys heard of Jimbo Salgado?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, this was a commission I got on the CGC boards. Have you gone on CGC boards at all, Tony?
I have. What's nice about it is there are other things that I collect that involve CGC, so I don't nearly post as often as I do on CBCS, but I'm always there in the background, a couple times a week.
Yeah, I used to be really fairly active on the CGC boards, but for whatever reason, I'm not anymore. But
I just don't find them as friendly. Not that that's CGC's fault, but I don't know. I posted a few things one time. People wouldn't stop giving me a hard time, and I haven't really posted much since.
What was the subject?
It was so stupid. I don't even remember. I think I had a question about, what was the first appearance of the 2 issues I had. Was it issue 1 or was it issue 2? And Evan was like, "Oh, don't you know? Like, what kind of collector doesn't know?" Kind of thing. I was like, "Okay, guys."
Wow.
It's just a question. Yeah.
It's like a real comic book store guy in real life.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can only be a hardcore collector to be on these forums or whatever, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'll be divorcing my current LCS over that. No, I'm serious as shit. That's happening this Wednesday.
Jeez. Well, it's not like there's no short of comic book stores where you live.
There are now. Before, it used to be a one game in town only store where you kind of felt pressed to either buy it or don't buy it. But now, in a day and age of eBay, mycomicshop.com, plenty of other sources where you can go to, you don't need comic book store guy dictating the way that you should buy.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I won't give out any names out here, but there's a local comic book shop to my area that has no prices. And when you get to, I want to buy these back issues, they will look up the prices of those back issues. Yeah, on eBay. So you have no idea what you're going to pay for it until you get to the register. Oh, this is a $200 book. Well, yeah, no thanks anymore.
Yes, that's disappointing.
That's what they do.
It's so stupid.
They have a sign right in the front that says, "We reserve the right to reprice back issues at the counter." So you pull out things that are clearly marked, whether it's $3 or $30, and you go, "Okay, I have this much money I can spend in my wallet. I can buy this stack. This is exactly the amount of money I have." You bring it to them, and they're like, "Oh, thank you for doing my work for me. So let's break out eBay and Key Comic Collector app and take a look at the guide. And I'm just going to choose whichever one of the 3 has the highest price for near mint and mark it as that." But you're going to go, but it's not near mint. Doesn't matter. That's my prices are my prices because I sell to real collectors. I was told that on a text, and that's when I went, we need to have a talk. And I left it at that until I come in on Wednesday.
I'm sure you know a nice divorce attorney that can help you out.
I know nothing but attorneys, sadly enough, in my life. But back to the Goon. If back in the day, if you would bring Eric Powell anything, he would sketch for you. I brought him a Cuban coffee down here, a colada, and this is the only remarked book I have.
Oh.
It's Eric Powell. So yeah, it's a quick little. It's a face on a face.
Yeah.
But that was back in the day before you were paying like $20, $30 for a single signature at a comic show.
When I got to talk to Eric at the Goon 25th anniversary in Nashville, and we were totally having a dude in a bar conversation. I was just like, "Yeah, are you gonna keep going with Hillbilly with you doing Goon?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna keep doing the Hillbilly, blah 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 blah, yada yada yada." And at some point, I was just like, "Eric, I love your art. It's detailed but accessible." And I just felt like such a stupid fucking fanboy that I just ran away.
I'm sure he did it too once when he was probably younger, but artists understand other artists going, I love your work and I really want to tell you, but at the same time, you kind of want to feel reserved about it.
Yeah,
it's okay to do that. We're all fans of everybody else. Even Donnie Cates is fans of other people.
That's true.
Rob, are you reading the Goon series now?
I have the first 6 issues. I haven't read them yet. I've got the first 2.
Rob, you got to read them, man. They're good.
I thought I was skipped on 3, and then issue 5 came out, and I got super confused
because 5 came out
before 4. So I kind of just waited until there's like 6 or 7 issues before I could go, is it coming out in the right order, and do I have them all? I like being able to read about 4 or 5 of one title in a row. Otherwise, I'm reading about 50 titles a month. I can't keep up as easily as I used to. I'm getting older in my old years.
I get it. There's a lot of content coming out,
especially with double shipping every month. Not as many titles as they used to, but they're getting better about it.
I wanted to go back to. I actually got this glass in Cleveland for my wedding anniversary last year.
Awesome.
And I was in a random shop in Cleveland, and I found the Batgirl cover that was hot last year.
The Joshua Middleton variant.
Yes, it was a profile with a white background. I found 2 of those and like
23.
I found them in a random box. No markings on it. I mean, like as far as price tag, it looked like they were going to be covered. I brought them to the counter, and the guy like looks at me snidely, and he's like, I can't sell you these for cover, right? And I was like,
So how much are they? And you'll probably have a price in your head already. And if they wind up giving you some astronomical price, you just smile and turn around and you never see them again, and never talk about them again, and largely forget about them. Unless you wind up having to, unfortunately, wander back in there a year or 2 later.
I definitely understand it. He wants to get his price, but I mean, they weren't marked. I found them for him, so whatever.
What did he charge? I'm curious as to what he charged you.
I don't even care. I mean, I think he wanted like $40 to $50 for them, and they weren't. Well, yeah. I mean, they were going for that much when they first came out.
And I was thinking in my head, I was joking. I was like, "Oh yeah, just add a 0." Like, ha ha ha. I thought it was an accurate price. Oh man,
the book that did it for me when I sent this guy the text, because he put it on Instagram, and it was $271 Incredible Hulk, first Rocket Raccoon, which back when the movie of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 came out, yeah, it was going for a significant amount of money, but it's come down quite a bit since. So I've gone, hey, that should probably be no more than maybe $80 to $120 if it's a really nice copy. He's like, $270.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. And he's like, I sell to collectors. I'm like, good luck with that. And then I take a little picture of eBay showing that for non-signed, about $70 or so on an average sale. And he's like, that's why I don't sell on eBay. And he starts doing snide remarks until it's like, you know what? I've been uncomfortable going into this shop for the last several years, and it's just been getting progressively worse. This put me over the line to go, you know what? This is why I don't go through your back issues. I only get the modern books that come out. I get other books elsewhere, and then you bitch about, well, I'm sure you probably could have found that here. I'm like, yeah, but I would have had to pay twice the amount.
Double the price, yeah.
It's not cool. But back to this. I got this on the CGC boards, and this actually took like a year to get. Jimbo Salgado is a Filipino artist, but when I got it back, I was quite pleased. I don't know. I've just started like drawing markers myself within the last 15 months.
Is that what that is? Is that markers?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, he's fantastic. So
all these artists are so talented, and that's the thing with art. Either you got it or you don't.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And that's the Harley Quinn Zero variant. Okay.
Yeah, it took a year, but it was cool.
Nice. Very awesome. Yeah. Awesome sauce. I like your albatross shirt.
Yeah. represent.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
Yeah, after all this goon talk, he's wearing the albatross shirt. I'm just noticing.
Simple tonight, just Modelo.
Nothing wrong with Modelo, man.
Special.
All right, you got more?
Anyone else? I do have more. I have more.
I have this show.
All right.
I'm just not an attention hog, so I'm cool.
Sure. I'm a
Ric Flair. Cool.
I'm a big Ric Flair fan.
He's still wrestling. Isn't that weird?
Well,
he's not all the time. He's not wrestling like full time or whatever, but
it's
he makes appearances, I'd say.
Yeah. The appearances are cool. This brings me back to like 2 years ago. I've talked about Lexington Comic-Con before. I actually had a CBCS yellow of this that I had Rick sign, and
so you actually met Mr. Flair. Is he cool?
Yeah, he was cool. Like we shook hands. I grew up in the 70s, so I mean, it was Muhammad Ali. It was Muhammad Ali and Ric Flair. I mean, they were badasses. But I actually, this is an embossed cover, and I'd had him sign right here, and the Sharpie ink didn't take that well. But it did. I mean, it took. But it was a book that I have another copy of this. I have 3 copies of this. So I bought it to sell, and I had it on eBay, and someone actually contacted me out of the blue on Twitter and offered me the right price, and I sold it. So, but I mean, I missed that book, but I still have this.
Guess that just means I'll have to run into Ric Flair one more time.
Yeah, I have one. I have one that's not graded. And I definitely will be trying to find Rick at another convention this year. So.
He's only been married like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Just find him a good-looking woman about his age, a little younger, 10, 20 years, and go, hey, here's this one. Can you sign this book for me too?
He actually just got married to.
Yeah.
Okay, give it to
Wendy. Some other ones that came out the last couple. This one came out. Are y'all familiar with Ed Piscordo?
Yes,
Ed
that's
Piscordo,
a thing. It is a thing. Yeah.
Scioli, yes, Tom Scioli. They do that kayfabe.
This came out like 2 weeks ago, and very underrated cover. I love this. So
Interesting.
Anyone read this?
Yes.
Is it good?
It is very good. Definitely read it. If you're going to sell it, read it first.
I've never had a Marvel book in my pull list. Never, not one time. All the years I've been collecting.
Everybody has their tastes.
Yeah. So I mean, I know the characters, but I don't know much more.
I was first became aware of Ed Piscor. He did a book about hackers called WYSIWYG. Anyone heard of that?
I heard
It's ringing a bell, but I can't put a cover with the name.
Very, very entertaining, very, very critically acclaimed, and he's from Pittsburgh. He's a Midwest boy, so
Nice.
But yeah, I love this. It's very underrated cover, and I mean, there's a theme. I'm a total sketch cover homer. Did this come out this week? I think it did.
That was
it 24?
Yeah, that's 24.
Okay.
26 just came out this past week, so that it could have been. I don't know if it's a reprint cover or if
it's definitely second print.
So second, it very well could have.
Well, Hulk has a history of the second and third print actually being more valuable than the first print. So that's maybe you got the golden ticket.
These Ross sketch covers, they are the tits.
Yeah.
And that's a good segue into
disagreement from me.
Some more Ross sketch covers. Any of y'all Planet of the Apes fans?
Planet of the Apes? Yes.
Yeah.
Old Planet of the Apes and the very new. We won't talk about what came in between with Mr. Tim Burton.
Yeah, that wasn't great, but it was still, I mean, I don't know. Being a Planet of the Apes freak, it was nice to see him on screen again.
I even like the animated series from like the 70s.
Yeah, it was great. But what is this? Planet of the Apes Cataclysm. I brought these from. I either bought these from like Midtown Comics and or eBay, and I'm just a total Alex Ross sketch cover homer. So
yeah, I got a Planet of the Apes Green Lantern crossover book, autographed. I just love it because it's so dumb.
Did you read? Did you read those at all, Tony?
I did. It was absolutely a really awful book, but I picked it up. Let me flip back. I picked it up just because everyone. Well, some people canceled, but Justin Jordan was at Baltimore Comic-Con, so I picked up just for him to sign it. He signed the whole run. There's only 6 issues, but it's not a very good book, but it's so bad it's almost good kind of thing. I just love dumb crossovers like that.
Well, and they did fantastic covers for that book.
Yeah. The variants for some of these are really good. Ethan Van Sciver did a lot of the covers, which is kind of nice.
So. Well, I think that is all I've got for now. There we go.
Yeah, I just picked up recently because somebody reminded me the first time that Frank Miller worked on a book was John Carter, Warlord of Mars, issue number 18. I picked this up for about $5 at the shop that I will probably be choosing as my new LCS. But if you just want me to start showing some books, I can throw up some of what I have in my background here.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I've been seeing your books on the IG, and you have some really cool 70s titles that...
All right, well, let's start with this. We'll move this off to the side. We'll go with... I picked this up from an eBay sale that ended in the middle of the night. If you go back and watch the video where I showed this for the first time, it came in 2 pieces of very thick cardboard, and that was it. There was no box. So when this came, I was scared to death that it was going to be ruined, but still, the blacks are still very crisp. The corners are still pretty nice from the original pictures. And all I did was take a picture of like that, a picture like that, and of each of the corners. Did not even take a picture of the full book. So I was very happy to get it for the price that I got that one.
Oh, Rob, did you buy that on eBay?
I got that one on eBay. It was a sale that ended at about 4 a.m. And yeah, I woke up, set my alarm because since my job requires me to go to Key West and wake up at 3 a.m., I don't have a problem waking up in the middle of the night for an auction.
Yeah, poor Rob's got to go to Key West. Doesn't that suck?
But I don't drink. You go to Key West to
just
have
being
fun,
there.
and I don't drink. So So there's one cover I got. Here's another middle of the night eBay auction that I picked up from. And I'm always careful of getting these old books with black covers because people like restoring stuff and have to put it under a black light.
Yeah.
I can usually tell something hasn't been restored if I can look elsewhere in the cover, like right here on the side. And I noticed that if no one tried to cover this up, I don't think anyone's going to try to cover this in black or reds. So I felt safe that it wasn't restored. This is what made me kind of broke this last paycheck here. But I'm very happy.
Rob, I love that. You just got that recently?
I just picked this up about a week and a half ago or so because I've been trying to get a Tomb of Dracula 10, but the copies that I find are usually ratty ass condition. But I found this guy on Twitter that follows me, and I've been negotiating with him. So hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll be picking up a Tomb of Dracula 10. But since I didn't have the money to say, hey, how about this much money? I went, okay, I'll wait till the next paycheck. But instead I got this. Very happy to get the first Sabretooth. But this I picked up about maybe 3 months or so after the cancellation of the series.
Oh, it's fucking beautiful.
This is probably at least a 9.0 if we're talking, that kind of.
Still a 9.0, and that's amazing.
But the thing is that I paid under $100 because after the show was canceled, no one could have given a crap less about it. But I did because I was always an Iron Fist fan.
So you've always been an Iron Fist fan, Rob?
Always. I mean,
I've always liked him for whatever reason too. What did we think of the Netflix show? Anyone?
I did not think very much of it.
I thought it was okay.
But here's another one that I picked up just in the last few months, and I got this in the mail the same day.
Wow.
That Jeremy Renner was kind of charged by his wife for shooting a gun in the air and being wasted. So I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't overpay for this one. But I'm pretty sure I didn't because I got this one off of an eBay or a YouTube auction.
When did he do that?
That's just been in the last 3 weeks or so. Just look at Jeremy Renner firing a gun. You're like, what? Disney, I don't think is going to be very happy about that.
Yeah.
So I picked up that one recently, and it's a pretty nice cover with the only exception being right over here. A little bit of the cover's missing, but I can live with that. Otherwise, foxing, no rips, no tears, a little spine roll or a spine crease from subscription. This one I picked up from my shop earlier this year. Paid a pretty good price for it because the only problem with it when you're looking at it is not the cover, it's the back cover, which right back here on the back, a small piece out of the corner is taken out. But otherwise, when you're just looking at it behind plastic, it looks perfect. And that's one row of comics that I have.
So, Rob, are you a fan of Invincible?
Obviously,
you wouldn't have it.
Of Invincible, the comic book series? Yes, I very much was. I used to have every single issue. I read that all the way back from the beginning because I remembered Robert Kirkman coming out to Florida to different conventions, and we'd always shoot the shit. And he would tell me, hey, I'm coming out with a new book. And way back then, that was the Battle Pope. Yeah. And then he went to Florida, hey, I'm going to be putting out a book. I don't think it's going to be going on very long, but Image signed me. It's something called Walking Dead.
That little tiny book? Yeah.
Yeah, picked up issue 3 and read it all the way on from. Picked up 2 and 1 for about $10 each, but back when I was losing everything, I wound up selling the first 6 issues for probably under $200. It was not pleasant.
I thought Invincible was a pretty fantastic title. I think the first 50 issues were better than the last 50, but what are you going to do? That's how it goes, right?
Oh, yeah. Here's another one where I'm hoping that the character winds up finding their way into the Marvel Universe sooner or later, despite the fact we didn't see him in Guardians of the Galaxy or Infinity War or any of them. But I love Adam Warlock. That's the first time we hear about him. This one I picked up from Chino on a YouTube auction.
Kirby stuff.
more Kirby stuff. And if you're hating Kirby, I have some bad news for you.
No, I love Kirby. Yeah. You posted that on your IG, Rob, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
Just as I posted this. So I'm
These are
hoping
very, very underrated Thor covers.
Oh, yes. And these I got for probably maybe $20 a piece. And
that's very reasonable
this year because there was somebody at a garage sale and they had a whole bunch of old Thor. So I picked out like 8 of the nicest ones and went, these. All because having Key Collector Comic app is not an altogether bad idea. This one I picked up from CJ's Comic Books earlier this year.
Oh, that's cool.
1968 was a great year for Marvel Comics because back in the day, you'd have, in 1968, you had Silver Surfer 4, you had Warlock coming out, Captain America started back again. So I'm trying to piece together all those books. But this one here, I've had probably almost the longest in my collection. This is a book where I should have learned a long time ago what restoration versus mutilation is on a book. So when I was in high school, I was given the opportunity to say I will take a varsity Letterman's jacket for football or a comic book. I took the comic book. So when they got it for me, my parents, I don't know how much they paid. It had some, Marvel chipping. So I took an X-Acto and took off the top, took off the bottom. You can even see right here that I put a little bit of color because I took it out of the wrapper of the bag and neglected to take off the tape. So things that you learn at a young age as a young boy, so you don't do it again when you start getting real books. Unfortunately, this became a real book. But I got it signed by Stanley. It's one of the last signatures I ever got when I was going to comic book shows, and still have the original back here from 1997 showing that this is the ticket. It is, in fact, his signature.
Submariner is one of those characters like Iron Fist that, for whatever reason, I've always really dug. So we are going on an hour here. I know Tony has to exit at 6 o'clock pronto. Any closing thoughts? Should we wrap this up?
Closing thoughts. I do know Rob has. Could you show your Superman #7?
Oh yeah.
I know that's a really awesome book, and it's super cool, and it's got a really awesome signature. I want everyone to take a peek at. I think Dan will get a kick out of it too.
Rob actually sent me this in a.
Oh, okay.
It's very cool.
So,
awesome.
With this Superman #7, I got this for free. The way that this happened is a short story. I knew this lawyer, or rather, he knew me. I didn't know him for shit. What wound up happening, since people know me as the comic book court reporter, this guy went, "Hey, you're the comic court reporter." And I went, "Who are you and how did you find me?" So he reached into his bag and he pulls out a Love and Rockets #1 Ashcan edition, 1981 or 82, I can't remember. But I really didn't know what it was. I knew what Love and Rockets was, but as far as, to me, it didn't mean anything. So I brought it to my LCS, the same one I've been talking to you about earlier, and I showed him the book, and it looked like he jizzed his pants. Apparently he was a huge Love and Rockets fan, and the only way you could have gotten it is if you lived in San Francisco back in the day, and the thing was in pristine condition. He runs into the back of the store, puts down a stack of old comics, and I'm seeing like Superboy issue #1 from 1950. I'm seeing some really nice books, but out of all of them, I see this one. And the reason why I decided to pick this out of all of them is because signed by Joe Shuster on the first page.
That's amazing.
Now, I'm kind of afraid to open this again. I've done this a few times for other shows, but
yeah, you don't have to, man. You don't have to.
No, that's cool.
Hialeah has seen it. There's like a piece of tape somewhere on the book that's kind of holding it together by a thread. It's probably in 0.5 condition. I don't care. I'm never selling it. It is my Joe Shuster signed copy of Superman #7 from 1941.
That's
what a piece of history.
Yeah,
you
that's
have.
badass.
That is amazing, and that's something that collectors like me can only dream of. I've only seen a Joe Shuster signature one other time my whole life, so you've definitely got. When we're talking keys, it doesn't get much more of a key than that. You're that close to the number one, and you've got a signature.
I saw this guy on Instagram the other day where he has all these books, and I'm seeing at the very top of his page, or very top of the picture, there's just 2 individual pages that look like they've been graded. Like, I hesitate to even ask, what are those 2 things that are above those very expensive things down below? Oh, these are my pages from Detective Comics number 27 and Batman number 1. Just a single page.
One page. I didn't know grading companies would do single pages. Is that true? I don't know. I didn't think that was.
There was no grade.
What about covers only? I think I've seen I
think I've seen covers only.
Yeah.
Well, they do. I know CGC does no grade, and it's cover only. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, just to slab it for protection. Yeah.
They verify the publication date and all that.
That's awesome. But Rob, thanks for showing that. That's a very cool story and a very cool book for sure.
And here at
that's awesome.
I mean, whatever I pull out next, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter.
There's nothing that's really going to top a Joe Shuster signature from my collection, at least.
Yeah, well, for anybody's collection, I don't think anyone's going to have, unless you have a Batman number 1 autograph, but I doubt it.
You can get Nerdy Girl Danielle from Instagram on. She is awesome. Just about everything she has is top condition, graded in the top echelon of their class. You would go, hey, do you have a Detective 27? Going, there's no way she's gonna have it. Oh, hold on, let me see. Here's 3 of them. Well, Action 1. Do you want one in 7.0, 5.5, a 3.0, or a 1?
That's awesome. I've run into a few people that just have these astronomical collections. When I was a kid, I was mowing my neighbor's grass, and he has an entire bedroom dedicated. In fact, he still lives there next to my dad. He's got bedrooms upon bedrooms upon bedrooms, just full of long boxes and comics. He probably has close to 60 or 70,000 books.
Both y'all's rooms impress the hell out of me. I mean, Rob is like Mission Control, comic book, spaceship, and I mean, Tony, your stuff is just it's wall to wall, man. I mean,
it's not a very big room. I can touch both walls here, but I got to do something with this empty space. I had to take it down so I could bring the file cabinet. I don't want anything stuck behind the file cabinet, but I got to figure something out. Maybe I'll just cut some and just keep going with it. Haven't quite decided yet, but
if it's your own home, you can knock down a wall.
I can't. Stairs on the other side. I got a water pump on the other side. Not a good idea. Comics and water are like best friends.
Or take out a permit and add on to the house.
I have an in-law suite. I do already have 2 in-law suites technically, but maybe someday I'll just take over an entire in-law suite and just be a comic museum.
Or depending on where you live in the country, dig a basement below the basement.
Rob,
that'd be nice.
I'm not sure if it was on Tony's show or not, but you were talking about the hurricane and how you're putting all your comics.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So,
can you imagine? I mean, Dan and I live fairly close. I think Dan is in Ohio and I'm in Pennsylvania. Yeah. We have relatively the same climate. But I mean, if I had every year hurricane season was coming, I had to grab all my books because I don't want to drown, in my books. It was I couldn't do that. I'd move.
Flood at any time yourselves. I mean, that's why when I'm seeing your books a little bit more elevated there, I feel better seeing them like that because I live in an area that doesn't have much of a flood zone. But if you go up a little north and a little bit east in Kendall, it will flood up to about maybe 2 feet if it rains for more than a day straight. And about a month before we had Hurricane Irma here that still has disaster claims being filed with insurance, You had a month beforehand where it rained 3 days straight, and everybody's cars were flooded up to the glove compartment.
Yeah, no thanks.
So that's a regularity to think about, at least as far as storing your books. But when you have a hurricane coming, you're usually given about a week's warning, but not with this one that was coming our way. It just came out of the blue.
Surprise
and, hey, by the way,
hurricane.
it's coming right at you. But instead, it kind of, at the very last minute, just went straight north and decimated the Grand Bahama Islands. But before that happened, I went out, bought at the dollar store a bunch of these large black trash bags. And every single one of these boxes here, I have 60 long boxes, probably a couple more now. And I had to go each and every one of them, close them up, take all these books out, put them into boxes, and just make sure they were all wrapped up. And then I put some duct tape, because if you need to fix anything and you're a man over the age of 18, you know that you can fix anything with duct tape. So duct tape, all those black plastic. This entire room was just black plastic bags. You thought that bodies were in it or something. And then
That's crazy.
It's not going to hit us. I
couldn't live in Florida. I couldn't do it.
Because even if it doesn't hit, it's better that you got prepared and nothing happened, rather than, because right behind here, what you see right there, that's a window behind here. So this is blocked off.
Scary.
So yeah, it's just make sure to have things secured just in case.
Yeah, that's for sure. I don't know how you do it. It's not for me, man. Not for me. But my insurance requires that I keep my collection like 2 or 3 inches off the ground. Sometimes I listen.
Jeez.
In case I flood. But luckily everything's in the basement. I'm in like technically slightly underground right now, but everything's underneath of it, so I don't have to worry about it. If it flooded my whole house, I mean, we're talking like the movie 2012 has already happened.
All you need is an ice shelf to fall below the ocean. No one will ever know what happened, and all of a sudden we'll be out here in Miami. We are under a tsunami alert. Like, but I'm about 10 miles off the coast. Well, if something like a shelf falls underneath like the Galapagos Islands, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. What about you, Dan? Do you have any scary weather come your way, and you were worried about your collection at all?
No, I really don't.
But I grew up in the Midwest too. I mean, you're right. We have tornadoes, but nothing. I've never been in a situation.
I sometimes worry about showing off my $1,000 Batman Adventures 12.
Hey, Dan's got this book, Window Smash.
That's about it.
Yeah, I don't. I have 2 200-pound dogs, and they hate absolutely everybody but me. So I think I'm good.
Helpful.
Yeah.
You're armed. You were former military, so I'm pretty sure you can handle at least one.
I am armed, so that's good. So I don't have that problem. But
no, I have a cell phone, and I know how to use it. That's about all.
Oh, that's funny. It's too funny. But anybody else got any cool books that we missed? I think, Dan, did you have a really awesome Gal Gadot book?
It's gone, man.
You sold it? Oh,
yeah.
Man.
I actually I set a GPA record a sale for that. I actually sold that for $1,000 to a gentleman in Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong, wow.
Yeah. People rag on the global shipping program, but yeah, that's. I mean, I that was a book I paid for $200 for, and I put a crazy price on it for eBay. And now it's gone.
Someone bid on it. Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome. But yeah,
I mean, it's going to sell for more than that, I think, if the movies turn out.
Did you see what? I hate Bleeding Cool sometimes, but today they just got my blood boiling pretty quick.
What happened?
Their clickbait title was Wonder Woman 84 canceled, and they had a picture of Gal Gadot. So I'm thinking the movie got canceled. Like what? So I click on the article. No, Wonder Woman issue 84 was canceled.
No,
the movie, and I was like, "You bastards!"
I mean,
I like Mr. Johnston. I've been reading him for at least a decade plus, but he wants the clicks. he is not shy about saying so. So I take anything that comes from Bleeding Cool with it.
I used to love Bleeding Cool until I discovered other sources. I'll leave it at that.
I mean, sometimes they have good articles. Sometimes, like this one, they have absolutely terrible ones. But I mean, like, why would you say that? Why would you say Wonder Woman 84 canceled and have a picture of Gal Gadot Wonder Woman?
You clicked on it, didn't you?
I did, because I was like, oh man, my wife, she's not really into comic books, but she loves Wonder Woman, and she goes to all the DC movies with me. It's something that we enjoy. So I felt like, oh man, we're going to miss out on this opportunity. We're not going to be able to see it. Now, talking about issue 84.
Yeah, it reminds me of when
That's whack.
Why would he do that? Why would they do that?
Earlier this year, they were trying to tell us that I think it was even Bleeding Cool. Sicko Ramon leaving the Flash TV show. Like,
yeah, I remember that one.
And then a month later, no, he's not. He had to come out on social media. I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere.
I have that too.
He's leaving. Ooh, is that John Boy Myers?
Great question. No signature on this one, at least not that I can see, but it's the deceased variant. But yeah,
there were some great Harley and great Wonder Woman deceased variants.
There were some really awesome. Deceased was a great story, but
variant. This one lately, I paid the $20 a month in advance so that I could get it, and all of a sudden it blew up. Now I can get rid of this so I can get my Amazing Spider-Man 300 back, because I used to have one, much like Dan did, but I went to MegaCon back in 1995 to sell the first comic book I ever made myself, and I said, Dad, I need to go pee. Can you watch the books? Okay. I wander off to pee. Walter Simonson comes to the table to look at some books, so I still have some Simonson signatures, but my dad and I were chatty Cathys. So he started chatting up Walter Simonson, having no idea who he was. So while we were chatting him up, somebody went into my books and stole Gen 13, 1 through 5, and this is back when it was worth something. But of course, what was one of the things missing? ASM 300.
That was nice of him.
I'll get it back. And I know my parents are watching because I saw my mom somehow.
Sue Worst.
I saw my mom did not watch me.
She was going to tell you to call your dad back.
Probably what happened.
Better call your father.
Awesome. Yeah, Dan Piercy's got some cool books. I mean, he showed us a bunch, but just by looking over his shoulder, I see a couple.
I pulled out the big guns tonight.
Yeah. Those are definitely some big guns.
I don't know. I have a real big affinity for sketch covers, and
so I gotta ask, what was the reason for selling the Gal Gadot issue? Was it you just didn't fit anymore? Just you didn't like it?
No, I love the book,
Yeah,
and I miss it. But I mean, it's like it was before the movie came out. I got it for like $200, and I was like, I think I can sell this for. I think I can make a clear-cut $500 profit off this, and I did. So,
just you got rid of it just to get rid of it. Then,
well, I mean, I bought it. Again, it was a CGC Signature Series opportunity for like $200, and it was before Batman versus Superman. They were promoting it. She was there for that, so it was a very fair price. I think she probably charges $500 now. And I just saw an opportunity to,
Yeah. Hey, man, I can't blame you, but man, that's an awesome book.
It was a beautiful book, man. It was that book and the Ric Flair book. I miss those books. I do.
As long as you know that you can get them back, that they're not so rare that there's only like 300 or 100 copies that you can never find it again, because there's times when, it spikes. I don't really sell, which I feel like I'm an idiot for not. So I'll try to learn how to do that shortly, because there's things that wind up happening along the way. Like I bought this on day one, but now there's a TV show coming out. It's going to spike again. I should probably sell it at the high and buy it back later on when I know that I can. Just similar to this. I mean, so many people had this book in the collection.
You want to sell that to me for $5, Rob?
I wish. Although I paid $30 for
I'll give you $5.50.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
I'm paying insane amounts of money for that book, Rob.
But this is one of those things where this is the basic reason why I kind of created doing this show for other people with Not Near Mint, because I make mistakes. My name's Rob Worst. I have like the worst name you could possibly have. I get excited when I see things. I have no impulse control. So when I saw this, the day that it was mentioned, hey, we have Natalie Portman playing Thor. This book, the person probably found it, put it for $30. I went, sold. I took it home. I opened it up, started reading it. And what did I know? There was a time when Marvel did Marvel value stamps.
Oh, there's no stamp in it.
When that time period was, because this was part of that time period. No Marvel value stamp.
Okay.
That sucks,
So,
man.
When the time comes to sell this, I will definitely sell this. I will let people know no Marvel value stamp, and then I'll buy it back later on after all that hype is gone and over and done with, because I don't think she's going to be Jane Foster Thor more than one movie, especially if she has cancer, as she did in the book.
Rob, are you reading King Thor, though, Rob?
I picked up issue 1 and 2. I still need to get to those. I'm waiting until
you got to read those. It's called the reading pile. Come on now.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I know when Natalie Portman left Thor, she didn't have anything really positive to say about the movie, the director, just Marvel in general. I wonder what brought her back. Wonder how many trash bags of $100 bills I had to give her.
When she was making Infinity War, she was probably paid more than any other actors in the history of film just to film one scene where she's asleep.
Yeah, probably.
That's
she got paid more than RDJ to just fall asleep.
And then she went, I'll take that money.
Yeah, the next one after Jane Foster is going to be, what if Dan Piercy found Thor's hammer? Wouldn't that be nice?
Rob, did you read the Jane Foster Thor arc?
I did, yes.
It was okay. I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was good. You loved it.
They had Mangog in it, and if you put Mangog in anything,
the Mangog issue was badass.
But these were some other issues that I just started picking up after I hear that Danny Cage was going to be Thor. So in this issue here, at the very last page, she's pretty much broken and bruised, and she picks up the hammer. She's now Thor. Legacy character, sure. But at the same time, like anything else, you want to have people identify with whatever characters are out there. Black, white, Asian, gay, trans, doesn't matter who they are. Everyone wants to identify with something. So I don't know if Danny Cage Thor might last, but somebody might identify with the character. Or it could become like that Ramon from West Coast Avengers 9 that was like a $20 book. Now you can get it for cover price.
I'm looking forward to the Danny Cage Thor.
I'm looking forward to Wasteland Avengers.
Not long ago, they did a DC, a small 6-issue miniseries. And they had Wasteland Wonder Woman. She looked like she was from the Fallout land, and it was pretty cool. She had a stop sign, but instead of the stop sign, it was a chainsaw. That was her sword. It was the chainsaw. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, when you're broke, you use what weapons you have around you.
I don't think I have any cool books. I have all kinds of cool autographs. We'd be here all day, like I said. But I'm trying to think if I have lots of autographs on other things, but I don't think I have anything for the show-off show. And that's not true. I have. I know I said a hard stop at 6, and that was because my baby was probably going to wake up at 6, but it looks like she's still sleeping, so I got a little bit of time left. Not that one. Here we go. The lady who played Flash's mom on the Flash TV show. Can't remember her name, but got her to sign. She signed. Whoops, there we go. Mama Flash on this replica badge.
Yes, you posted that on IG, Rob. Very cool cover.
So that's it's just a replica Central City police badge, which is kind of neat. And it's like a legit police badge. It's heavy. It's made of metal. he could knock somebody out with it. Sure.
Can I get opinions on the Joker movie from you guys?
I'm waiting to see it with the missus.
Oh, Tony.
I want to see it. I really do, but I'm reading some stuff about it, so I do know some things about it. One, I know it's just destroying the box office right now. People are just coming all over it, which is good. I think Joaquin Phoenix was a great casting choice. The people are saying like this is the best performance of his career, and to say that in a comic book movie, is crazy. So one, I'm very excited to see it, and which I think DC has finally found its groove that they can do these standalone stories and they don't have to smash everything together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And just
I didn't even think
good.
I didn't even think about it in regards to that. Like this is like the DC win.
Yeah, this is definitely. I mean, they've had other success with Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Shazam, but
this is the one. I mean,
this is just one. It's not getting a sequel. Like it's cut dry. Like done. There's no more. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any more Joaquin Phoenix Joker. But speaking of, I do want to flip for just a second. Speaking of movie news, Flash. God, who's playing Flash in the movie? Ezra Miller. Yeah, he's still attached to the Flash, and it sounds like
really wow.
Yeah, he's still attached, and it sounds like they're going to do one Flash movie, and the second Flash movie is going to be Flashpoint, which is going to bring Robert Pattinson's Batman universe into main continuity movie. That's the word on the street. I mean, I don't know the guy. That's just word on the street.
Because DC is so screwed for movies right now, they already have to reboot their universe.
Well, what's nice about, and people keep saying that the Suicide Squad is a reboot. It is not a reboot. It's not even a soft reboot. It's just, they even say it's not a sequel, but it is a sequel because one thing about the Suicide Squad is every story, that roster changes. And, it wouldn't make sense to reboot a movie and bring back most of the original cast. So I would say it's a soft sequel with Nathan Fillion in it, which is going to be amazing. I'm excited for it.
Like the first movie, the movie kept going like life. It's just that's where the credits rolled. When the credits roll back up, it's under a whole new team, and we just take it for whatever it's worth.
Have any of you seen the trailer for Birds of Prey yet?
Yes.
What did you think about the trailer?
I thought it was okay. I mean, people were hating on it, but I'm like, what do you want?
Looks like a good Harley Quinn movie.
That's kind of the main complaint. Is it looks like a Harley Quinn. Oh yeah, the Birds of Prey are also in this movie. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. A lot of Birds of Prey fans want more Birds of Prey.
Yeah, I want more Birds of Prey because I think it would, leap from that a really good Batgirl. Because one thing about Birds of Prey is Batgirl has always been a part of that in some way, shape, or form.
No Babs Gordon.
Yeah.
No Rob.
So I owned one of those once upon a time. I sold it.
So I think DC is definitely missing out on an opportunity to bring Batgirl into movie world because Supergirl got greenlit for a movie for some reason.
So Rob, have you seen Joker yet? No,
I have.
You didn't like it.
I thought that Joaquin was a great actor with a great performance in a mediocre movie where we've seen the script before, and I liked it the first time I saw it when it was called the King of Comedy.
Taxi Driver.
A cross combination of Taxi Driver and the King of Comedy, both Martin Scorsese films, so I kind of understand why Martin Scorsese would go, these comic book movies aren't real movies. I'm like, yeah, because you've made them already. I mean, hell, one of the greatest comic book films of all time was his Last Temptation of Christ. Fight me.
Yeah, I felt that way. I felt that way too. I was like, an incredible performance, but material seems incredibly familiar. But of course, people who have not seen it before, which is 60-70% of the public, they're losing their minds over the film. But I mean, I liked it.
Do you remember the movie Logan? I mean, I think we all do. I love that movie too, but I also loved it the first time I saw it when it was called The Children of God.
I haven't seen that, so of course I thought Logan was some tits.
Logan was good. It was just a more toned down version of that movie because Children of God was intense.
I vaguely remember that movie.
I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah. But I've been watching a lot of Titan season 2.
Oh,
so you have you're
episode 10.
You watch it on the DCU app?
I do watch it on the app.
I saw 9. Are they on 10 yet?
I don't know. I binge watched like the first 4 episodes last night, just to say I was cool. And
give me a second. Be right back.
Yeah, no problem. But I will definitely keep trucking. But I like it. I like how they're assembling the original, Titans. You got Superboy, you got Aqualad, you got Wonder Girl, you got Robin, Nightwing, but Raven, Cyborg. Oh, no Cyborg, but he technically does exist in this continuity because of Doom Patrol.
Did you get to the episode with Aqualad?
I haven't got there yet.
I don't want to talk about
what episode is that? What episode is that?
I think it's 5 or 6 because you find out why the Titans broke up to begin with. And you're thinking this was all like 5 or 10 years ago, but apparently this all happened in a really short period of time. And there's a very good reason why the Titans don't exist the way that they do. Light spoiler, it's the Deathstroke said, if you decide to form the Titans ever again, I will find and kill all of you. And that's just
I don't know
the entire time.
I don't know who the actor is that played Deathstroke, but wow, that guy is awesome. And the costume, like, I don't know how they did that, but it looked amazing. It looked amazing.
The Titans one of those series that at the very beginning with the fuck Batman. Like, oh God, this is just going for the edgelord vote. But as the series has been progressing, it's gotten a lot better. So it's unfortunate that I'm seeing that the DC app is kind of folding into, I guess, what is it, Hulu now?
I don't know. I wish I knew what Warner Brothers would make a decision and pick a streaming service, because they have, HBO's getting The Watchmen, this streaming service is getting Green Lantern and Strange Adventures, but you can go over here and watch Titans on the DC Comics app. All that stuff should be on the DC Comics app. Everything else should be secondary, even though they own all those properties. I mean, DC's biggest competitor is its own properties, and it
need to get out of the way. Yes. Did you like Doom Patrol, Tony?
Doom Patrol was awesome.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I will admit, I did not think that Brandon Fraser would make a good Robot Man. When I heard that, I was like, "What? Why?
He's so good."
I'll admit, he proved me wrong.
He wanted to show that he still had acting chops within him, despite the fact you are not going to see him in like facial expression. And he's been knocking it out of the park. Season 2 is going to be killer if season 2 happens.
I think they did confirm a season 2.
It's going to be on HBO, I think.
Yeah, it's jumping platforms, which, again, like, come on, DC. Like, are you serious? Which reminds me, real quick, it sounds like not only Daredevil is probably coming back, but it sounds like Daredevil is coming into MCU main continuity. In the MCU.
Yeah, Kevin Feige just came out saying that if you want to understand the next Marvel movies that come out, your ass better have a subscription to the Marvel app.
Yeah,
rather Disney app, same thing.
Yeah. I love the DCU app. I love watching Doom Patrol. I love that it was $5 a month. Looking forward of it. Is the Harlequin movie out, Tony? Since you're subscribed.
The animated, I didn't see it. I
thought that was supposed to be out this fall.
Yeah. And I also don't think that Stargirl is no longer in the works either.
Damn it.
But I mean, it's just such a clusterfuck. I mean, they just fuck themselves.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know why their own property is their biggest competitor.
And that Swamp Thing, which was supposedly awesome, they spent too much money on. That Doom, the app, whatever. But
what was the problem with the Swamp Thing is Warner Brothers went to that specific location for a tax break so they could invest more money into it. And the problem was the city or the township or municipality or whatever said, hey, we made a clerical error. You actually owe us way more money than you thought you did. So DC just immediately pulled the plug.
Yeah, had nothing to do with quality, thank God. But then again, getting canceled before you even start day one.
How many people would just give up like as soon as they heard that?
Well, that was very on brand for Swamp Thing, because every time Swamp Thing starts, it gets cut off at the.
I love Swamp Thing too. It's another one of those very cool, obscure characters.
It is
that nerds like us love. But I'm not going to invest myself when it's only going to be a season before they retool it.
Yeah, come on, DC. You're here to help make our books go up.
Speaking of Swamp Thing, speaking of Swamp Thing, if you guys are big Swamp Thing fans, the Walmart 100-page giant is actually a key. It's the first appearance of some villain that I can't remember, but
sure,
it's a key. yes, but it's in the Key Collector app, so check it out.
Both y'all are on Key Collector?
I am. I'm not a subscriber. I just use the free part, but I use Key Collector all the time.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I actually use that in tandem with my CLZ lifetime membership that I'm a part of. So that's kind of nice. And I wish those two would partner up, and that would be really cool.
End of year, I'm going to have to determine between either Go Collect or CLZ, because with all these books, I'm going to have to figure out what I have, what I don't have, because otherwise I know what I have in my mind, but much like how Dan at the beginning of the show was telling me, oh, I have that Fantastic Four with the white cover. I thought I had the red cover. I'm kind of in the same boat. I think that I might have something, but unless you can look at your phone to go, yep, I do. I'd rather do that rather than have 8 copies of Green Lantern 48.
I dug through all my boxes today, Rob, trying to find ugly covers because that show inspired me.
Ugly
Come
covers.
on my show.
Maybe we need to do something like that, like what's your least valuable key or something like that, or something like that. Some of these Comigories when Rob was on.
I have a box of stuff like this. I mean,
oh, there you go.
They did Comigories, and I thought that was an awesome idea. That was really cool.
Yeah, Matt, Boy Who Had 7, when he dreamed that up, it is like the best show of YouTube comic stuff.
Yeah, minus this one.
And then.
Yeah,
right, for sure.
I will say this though. AMC did that History of Comics, and when they did the Image show, like I sold copies of Youngblood 1 that I had slapped for $100. So thank you.
Yeah.
Have you guys see the documentary that DC put out probably like 4 years ago at this point called Necessary Evil?
Yeah.
It was about the psychology of DC villains, and it was actually pretty entertaining. Like I normally don't care about that stuff, but I thought it was pretty good.
It sounds crazy. Rob, I appreciated your opinion on the Joker movie because it definitely was in line with mine. And
20% dancing added to the
our opinions are the minority, Rob.
Hey, just don't try dancing down some stairs because you're probably going to break a hip. I know I would.
Yeah.
I thought he made a good Joker. From what people say, he makes a good Joker, but I'm okay with him not doing a sequel. I just leave it. It's awesome. Let it go. Move on to something else. But I think they should do that. They should have a cool Joker movie. Next, they should move into like maybe Bane or. Well, it doesn't have to be a Batman villain. It could be anybody, really.
I wish someone had the balls to do a Harley Quinn movie. I mean, not with sidekicks. Maybe that's what Birds of Prey will be, but
and have Frank Thierry write it. Because that man is like cranked up to 11 all the time as a person and as a writer.
I've met him a couple times. I've also got that opinion. The guy is, I don't know, he's just 100% all the time.
I wish I had that kind of energy.
He reminds me of that motivational speaker, Tony Robbins. He's like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, and put him on the set while the movie is going on. You'll get an adequately portrayed Suicide Squad going on in the background at the same time as a Harlequin movie and a bunch of Easter eggs. It's going to be just like what we want. But since we're fans, we're never going to be given all we want because there's producers going, and I want that money because money's tight.
See, I thought that would have been a really cool idea, you know, have like a Justice League movie happening and then like a real quick meeting of like the Suicide Squad and then continue with regular Justice League movie. That'd be kind of neat.
If they played these movies like a comic book, they could be introducing a minor character like, you know, Hawkeye in the first Avengers. They could be doing those little dropping of an Easter egg. And if people liked it enough, just like comics in the old days, hey, people really like this character. Why don't we throw him into a movie? They could have that synergy, but instead they just want an interconnected universe. They're shooting themselves in the foot. They should be doing things more like Joker, because then you could have a spin-off of something else from Joker.
Committing to Zack Snyder was probably it was a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't agree with that too, but you know, I mean, I think the studio stuck their nose in it too much. Just wouldn't let them. Any director just have creative control until they get to, you know, who did Aquaman? What's his name?
James
You never
Wan.
remember. James Wan. Yes. Almost said James Gunn for a second. But yeah, when James Wan took over, they kind of like, okay, let's back off. And they did the same thing with Shazam. They kind of backed off.
And Shazam was fantastic.
Shazam was awesome.
No expectations. The only thing I ever read of Shazam back in the day was Jeff Smith's the Monster Creature Society, I think.
Shazam, yeah.
And based on that, I loved Shazam. Tried going back, finding some of his old experiences because of that. That's the way a movie should be done to get me excited to go. Now I want to go look at the source material. And Shazam did that phenomenally. Yeah,
I'm a big time Shazam too. I'm currently chasing the entire 73 run, which is his first one in DC. For the most part, I'm fairly finished. I've only got about 6 or 7 issues left, and then I'm done. But yeah, it's a good hero, good movie. Can't wait to see how they're going to do Black Adam. It should be a lot of fun. But as for me, I hear a crying baby, so that means I'm out of here. But feel free to continue on, the two of you. I can definitely watch in the background.
All right, cool, Tony. Thank you for your participation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We'll talk soon. Man, I'm curious. Well, we'll talk about this offline, but the medical procedures you're having done. But
yeah, that's a good thing. I'm going to be out for about 2 weeks, starting on the 27th. I got to get some surgery done on my nose, so I will be out. I will not be on the reading pile starting then for 2 weeks. I know that's probably a key holiday time, so there's probably not going to be a whole lot of.
November is done.
I was going to say there's probably not a whole lot of content coming out anyway, so it kind of works out. But yeah,
whether it does or doesn't, you want to be in like 20 years going, well, I wish that 20 years ago I didn't try and rush things because otherwise my nose would have been healed right.
Yeah, right. So this is actually surgery 2 of 2. As you can see, my nose is slightly crooked. So they're going to break it and fix it, as well as one of my nostrils so I can breathe. Breathing is good. But cool. Awesome. I'm Tony Fett. I have an Instagram, Tony Fett Talks. Tonight, I will be on the Retro Review at 9 p.m. Eastern. I think it's on Tim's show or Tim's channel this time, but it's a lot of fun. We are talking Blackest Night and other Green Lantern things too. And there is some other cool stuff happening on the channel. I don't want to spoil it now, but you have to tune in and find out. I'm pitting Tim and Dave against each other for a challenge, and the viewers decide who wins. So that's always fun. But yeah, I got to get out of here. Mr. Piercy, Rob Wurst,
Thank you, Tony.
Always a pleasure to talk to the both of you, for real. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. This is I think the third show I've ever been on that wasn't my own. I'm not used to doing this on other people's channels, so I always am very grateful for the opportunity.
Okay. Don't hate me if I ask you back, man.
My last name's Worst. I'm never going to feel like I'm the top king of anything, because when your last name is Worst, you will always feel humbled.
No, there was a lot of synergy here. You were on the show last week, and I was like to Tony, I was like, oh my God, Tony Doug, he was such a good guest. He had so much to say. I was like, I don't know if people are going to want to listen to us just ramble on about books, but this felt very organic, and well, I don't know. I'll be talking to all three of us again about doing it again if you're up for it.
And if you haven't talked to Caroline, Lady Fantastic, if you've seen my show, she is much better at this than I am, because
she's a character.
Me, I feel like I've had so much coffee and so much information is going on in my head that I just need to vomit it all out at the same time. So I'll have like 3 thoughts all trying to come out my mouth at the same time. Other people say, hey, you're fine, Rob. To me, I watch it back and go, oh, God, are you okay? Really? But the reality is, I'm just happy that I can correspond with other people that are fans of the same thing that we are all into, this hobby of expensive paper, of comic books. And in reality, it doesn't matter that I have all this crap behind me. I mean, it's nice. But if I'm watching comic book YouTube, I'm there to watch other people be excited talking about books that I love. If it's stuff that I'm into, I'll watch it all the way through. Even if they're stuttering and sputtering like I am, because they're excited and I want to see that. But if somebody's lethargically talking about the books, you lost me. So you have that energy. People like Matt, Boy Who Had 7, Tony Fett, J Hood Creative, all these people that I watch put out content, some occasionally, some like Reggie daily. I'm there for people being excited about this hobby.
Yeah, I have crazy energy. Tony like keeps me grounded a little bit, and man, you got books out the wazoo that are just inspiring to see. So props to you, man.
It's all time and pressure. If I can't get that book this week or next week, hell, I waited 12 hours in line to vote. I think I can wait a few extra weeks and or months, possibly and or years for that book that you want. For me right now, by the end of the year, that's the Tomb of Dracula 10, the Werewolf by Night 32, and I'm done. I'm good. Next year, I can get that Hulk 181 finally and not feel like an idiot for walking into any comic store going, do you have a Hulk 181? And have them laugh at me, because they should.
Question for you real quick, though. Do you like 70s books? You seem to like a lot of 70s books.
Bronze Age is my favorite age. That is when comics grew up. That is when we see Gwen Stacy thrown off a bridge. That's when we see Speedy get addicted. That's when we see life actually happening. It's not just Streaky the cat anymore.
When did you discover it, though? Because I was like, I mean, you weren't reading that stuff at 5 years old. Like I was like 10 in 1978. So that stuff was in my wheelhouse. I had friends who had brothers who had those comics. And I mean, that is what hooked me.
So I had some people that were living around me back when I was a teenager. His name was Steve Ventimiglia. He still kind of reads and collects comics occasionally, but you had somebody that came over to his house to hang out a lot. You would be familiar with him being a character on Jackass. His name was Steve-O. So Steve-O was into those Bronze Age comics, and we'd start digging through Steve Ventimiglia's boxes, looking at some of these old stuff. And he would teach me how to read things properly so that if I put it on the table, I'm not going to crease the cover or bend anything. And that's how I initially read a lot of those older 60s and 70s books. Then once I was 15 years old, got my first job, and I was out buying regular books. My first more expensive stuff that I was getting was Daredevil, the old stuff from Frank Miller. I still have this just out in the front of all these boxes here. And this I bought back in 1995. Still in pretty nice condition. It just has that little tear. It doesn't matter, but it's somewhere on the side here. And if I had some extra money lying around, I would try and get those books that I've been looking for. But I got off of collecting old comics for a long time. When I got married, I just told my wife, I'll do whatever you want. Just let me have the money to get books every week. And I would get no older books. Then came last year, towards the end of the year, and the person that basically saved me from homelessness, her name's Heather. I won't say the last name, but I've been living in her house the last 5 years. So now that I'm working a good job, court reporter, I could get her a good Christmas present. So her favorite character of all time is Winnie the Pooh. So I asked her, do you want the first appearance of Winnie the Pooh or the first book of Winnie the Pooh? It's like, I'd rather have the first book. I'm like, well, thank God, that's a lot cheaper, because the folio is about thick as a phone book, and it was an old magazine that was printed in 1925 or 24. So that wasn't going to happen. I got the other book, paid about $660 or so for it. First edition print of Winnie the Pooh. I'm like, well, this is awesome that I got this. Why am I not buying stuff like this for myself? So then I thought about it for a while, and I went, well, I was paralyzed from below the waist for about a good 6 or 7 months back in 1995, I think it was. So I was in the hospital relearning how to walk, and that's really when I loved comics. I was reading them constantly. I'd have people bring me comics to the hospital to read. So the first book I decided to get was the one that I showed you back there, the first appearance of Babs Gordon Batgirl, because she was the one that inspired me. Later on in that year, I wound up picking up some Green Lantern, willpower. Had to get some willpower to be able to walk again. Finally picked up this year. Started talking to Matt, the boy who had 7, and he was telling me that, yeah, I've been selling a lot of these books that I've had for all this time. I'm never going to read them again because I sell those so I can get the books I've always wanted. And I'm seeing him with, instead of, the ungraded copy of the Batman Adventures 12, he has a 9.8. Now that he has it, he doesn't want that anymore. He goes, I want that even higher book, that Avengers 4, Avengers 1, ASM 1, AF 15, the big killer. But when I'm seeing people with like a single page, a single folio of Batman 1 or Detective 27, it's like that little reminder in my head going, you're never going to afford what you really, really want in the end. And that's basically my story leading me to now. I did not get older books until really this year.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about reading comics in the hospital. That was like my parents bought me some Amazing Spider-Mans when I was like 5 or 6 years old in the 70s, and that's what turned me on to the whole hobby. And I'm not a fan of Spider-Man anymore, but Amazing Spider-Man in the 70s was quite incredible.
It was the tits.
Yeah, I really remember that the Ghost of Hammerhead and Dr. Octopus and all that. Doc Ock was amazing in the 70s.
I just picked this up just the other a couple weeks ago.
And of course, you got them all, but I've sold.
No, believe it or not, the two of the books that I have the most dearth of, I don't have a lot of Amazing Spider-Man from before 2001, 2000 or so. Sporadically here and there, but I've only been picking up occasional issues of Amazing Spider-Man.
It's the Gibbon, right? Yeah, it's a great book. I read that as Marvel Tales as a kid, the reprint thing they did.
So it'll be a while before I start working on X-Men and Amazing Spider-Man books, but I was predominantly a DC person for a long period of time.
Did you read New Mutants this week?
I did.
I thought it was just okay.
I thought it was a lot better than the Bill Sienkiewicz Claremont version that was produced a couple weeks ago that just felt like a filler book. This one felt like it was going in a direction. It's just not necessarily a direction that I feel like I'm going to be following more than 6 issues or so.
I like the New Mutants. I don't know. I just didn't have a lot of patience for it. It just seemed like, well, I don't even want to say that. A kid's book, whatever. Well, the New Mutants have always been teenagers, so why am I saying this? But
well, now we have an X-Men book in space. At least you have one. You have one in grounded in reality, one in space, another that's kind of all over the globe. So they're trying to get several different genres going at the same time just to figure out what sticks on the wall. Because if you have like 8 X-Men books again, you can cancel a few of them until you have 2 core ones, whatever they might be. Probably whatever.
Totally. House of X I liked a lot. That was the only one I read.
Oh, you didn't read them both in tandem?
I didn't. So I missed a lot, but
it's like reading half a story. It's so weird.
I know. I'm not going to buy another BS though. It's only one book, and
But I have to say, House of X and Powers of X were very strong books this year. I was thinking it was going to be one of those, I'll pick it up, I'll get around to reading it, and I picked up the first issue, read it, went, well, that was actually pretty good. Then came the second, when Moira McTaggart this entire time was a mutant that has lived many lives over and has just kept her mouth quiet about it. And now we're discovering it. It was like a great revelation. When I initially told some people about this, oh, that sounds like a stupid story, until you really get into it. And they're trying to redevelop this for a new reader so that they can correlate it to the MCU later on. I get that. I understand it. They're trying to streamline it. But by streamlining it, kind of like the Ultimate Universe, if something's meant to be streamlined, that only works for like a year. After like 2 years, it becomes just as complex as the initial root universe.
I mean, there's the whole the Cult of Hickman. He's very good. I like his writing as long as he doesn't kill me with charts.
He's more technical than emotional. You there?
Is there anything you're looking forward to coming out?
As I said, Avengers of the Wasteland I'm looking forward to. I'm kind of glad that Runaways decided not to go the direction of Doc Justice and the goddamn J-Force. Because when Marvel was pumping out videos saying the next big thing is going to be Runaways. Wait, Runaways? Who gives a shit about Runaways? No, not Runaways. It's Doc Justice and the J-Force. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me with this stuff? I read it, and it wasn't bad. It was fun, but obviously Doc Justice is not going to be the next X-Men or Avengers title. It was just a joke. Thank God for that, because I think all of us collectively just shrugged our heads going, huh? So Runaways I'm actually enjoying very much. Unfortunately, we know that Batman's coming to a close. It looks like they're probably going to be killing off Catwoman. I'm gonna call it. They're gonna kill off Catwoman, which is gonna lead into Batcat. So they're bringing back the Phantasm. So I'll be looking forward to Tom King writing that book. We know that Guardians of the Galaxy is wrapping up with Donny Cates writing that book. So instead of him writing that book, I think it's Al Ewing now that's picking that up. So
yeah.
Put Al Ewing on anything, and I will read it. He has been one of the best writers for Marvel for so long, and people just didn't know. I mean, he wrote freaking Ultimates where Galactus becomes the life bringer. I wish that would have stuck. But, you have to make it look like things are progressing, but not really, because the next writer can always walk back whatever just happened.
Well, speaking to Al Ewing and segueing to like Immortal Hulk, do you think Immortal Hulk is the best Hulk arc ever?
I wouldn't say best Hulk arc ever, but as far as being accessible to those that aren't familiar with Hulk, I mean, you don't need to have read all those issues where there was a Red Hulk that was, who was it? Not
Agreed. General Ross. Whatever.
General Ross. You don't need to know all this. You don't need to know that Betty Ross was Harpy before she was Red Hulk. It just puts it out there, and you kind of have to pick it up through context clues. And there are context clues. It's not like they have to say, ... This happened back in issue number 161 of Incredible Hulk, Sly Stan. I mean, they don't have to do it anymore. They throw that right into the story. So a good writer can do that. So just the same with Al Ewing. I don't know why I said Ewing. Ewing is one of the best writers Marvel has, just as Chip Zdarsky. I will read anything and everything he is.
I like Chip Zdarsky as well.
Daredevil right now, in the very last issue, I was just talking with Ella on Twitter about this. Do you think that Daredevil is any good right now? Like, well, he's right in the middle of his run, and we do know from Spider-Man Love Story, which I considered the best comic book of 2019, and I don't mean the best Spider-Man comic of 2019. I mean the best comic book of 2019. Chip Zdarsky nailed the ending. It made you cry, and it lets me know, unlike Mark Millar, he knows how to stick a landing. He knows how to end a book. So now we're midway through in Daredevil. I'm saying midway, it's only on issue 13. Wilson Fisk just murdered a business elite in New York City, and he's having a nervous breakdown.
That was this week, right?
That was this week. He calls in Wesley, I murdered a business elite. I think it's over now. Going straight is done for me. I'm done for. And he has to clean up his mess. So he's getting to the psychology of the character, and he can keep a little bit of whimsy going on at the same time. I love what he's doing with Elektra, kind of teaching Matt to be the person that he should have been all along. I like the fact that Detective Cole at the end of the book is broken. And now here's Murdoch. I think it's about time we have a talk. I can't wait for issue 14.
I stopped reading after issue 5, and that bums me out because I love Daredevil, and Daredevil is one of the. I mean, Daredevil is usually awesome in the Marvel universe, and I don't know. It's silly to say that I'm glad he's underutilized because they let the writers and artists do how Daredevil should be done, So
Daredevil's one of those where whoever the editor goes, you know what, it's yours. You just turn in the pages, and as long as you don't have anything racist in there or bad language, I'm just going to publish it. As long as they're like that, I'm pretty much okay, as opposed to Amazing Spider-Man, where right now we're still waiting for that guy, girl, that's all bandaged up with the little, I don't know, what kind of insects are those supposed to be? In any case, it's been 39 issues now, and we still haven't gotten a wall-to-wall confrontation. Let's just get this out in the open. It is the slowest read of all of Marvel's stories, in my opinion.
Yeah, Tony sucked in. I like the Defenders TV show, too.
It was good, but I was expecting more of like a Avengers level quality of balls to the wall action. But you forget, or at least I did, that these are very down to the ground, not very over super powered characters. So I shouldn't have been expecting as much as I did. But whenever you pair up all these other characters all together for 10 episodes, I was expecting a little more. Maybe it's just me. I could be wrong.
Well,
but I do want to see Daredevil in the MCU because for a TV show put out by Marvel, it'll be punched up.
You mean the movie universe?
The movie universe, yeah. I want to see Daredevil incorporated into that, or if not movies, I'm okay with that. Add him into the Disney streaming because I want to see a continuation of that.
Well, they'll do that. I mean, it was so successful. And the only reason it was announced the cancellation was because they had to move it off.
Yeah, because of
Netflix. We all know that.
So after the contractual obligations are had and it's over, everybody still wants to participate, and I want to see a real life, honest to God, not in the Daredevil suit, Bullseye.
Yeah, He will be tough to do. What kind of indie titles do you read, Rob?
So indie, I tried doing I pick up
before you get started. You said Jeff Smith. Do you read any other Jeff Smith stuff?
I have. Well, here's something I got signed by him when I ran into him a long time back. So this is a series that if people were reading Bone, you should also pick up some.
Oh man, I love Romance at the Speed of Light. Hell yes.
Because looking at Rassel, this is talking about Nikolai Tesla.
Yeah, man. Rassel is the fucking tits. It again, much like Hillbilly, it's one of the best comics ever published. It's very, very
long,
good.
It's easy to read.
Yeah, very accessible.
If you're a fan of Bone, and I can't wait till Bone comes out as a TV series. That is something I was looking forward to coming to Nickelodeon about 2 decades ago, and then a movie or 3 movies, and then that gets
done. Yeah, man, high five. Jeff Smith is from Columbus, Ohio, so see him around town and shit.
Man, if you could find like one of those old issues of Thorn that he did for his
Yeah. He's like all about OSU culture and shit. He's awesome.
That's good. And anybody that remembers their roots, that's going to be fantastic. I mean, it's kind of funny when I go back and now that I'm living in Miami, that I'm seeing certain characters from Miami, such as Ant-Man. Scott Lang is from Kendall.
But keep going on about Rassel. Rassel was...
So Rassel's one of those stories where this guy gets stuck in time.
No, I love Rassel.
Not even just time, it's different dimensions. And it's kind of like a quantum leap, but on a very philosophical scale.
Yeah, I'm pulling out my copies right now. Keep talking, please.
So Rassel winds up, I can't even tell you how it ends because I don't want to spoil anything. Let's let Dan go and take a look at those Rassel copies. But while he did Rassel at the same time after he finished Bone, he started working for DC Comics on the Shazam, the Monster Society, and that was a retelling of some story that happened back in the 1940s that was never reprinted because apparently it was super racist. There you go, Rassel. Let's take a look at some of the pages.
I mean, this was part of the Laughing Ogre, signed by Jeff Smith with a little remark down there. And that was a great conjuring right there. The character, he'd always the little girl would show up to show him that he was out of time, out of space.
You know, that character was like the White Rabbit. Every time he chased that character, he'd wind up in another universe.
Oh. My wife's calling me. My wife's calling me. The camera got cut off. No, but I mean, this stuff is just. Ugh. I mean, Jeff Smith is more of a. He's more of a cartoonist than a straight up. But I mean, this stuff is just so cool.
I don't even know if he takes his time, if he doesn't produce a book for 2 or 3 months and it comes out. Much like Goon, if he wants to take his time and not produce a book for 2 or 3 months, I'd rather get something good that he wants rather than something that he rushes out just because he feels the pressure. It's kind of like a lot of YouTubers out there that feel the obligation to make 1 video a day. It's like, well, great that you can do that if you can, but if you can't and you're just cranking it out to crank out, I don't want to see all that. I'd rather see everything compiled into one thing that's really good, and you do that when you can. And Jeff Smith falls into that category. Well, I'll wait however long it'll take.
Heard that. But, I treasure this episode of Rassel. And I've actually owned... there are rumors of a Rassel movie being made, and I think there's an actual Rassel sculpture. I'll take some pictures of it and send it to you, Rob, because there's a comic book store right down the street from me, and They have a bone sculpture, and I'll inquire about the Rassel sculpture. But this will be made. This will be made at some point if Bone does well. So we'll see.
Here's one I'm waiting, since I was told this is now halfway through the storyline. This one here I have in 4. All right, it's bagged and boarded with 4 boards, because for the longest time I just had this in a stack. Because back when I was not doing so hot, losing my apartment and everything, I was just buying issues, not bagging and boarding. So I have every single issue of this. This is one of my favorite stories to come out recently. It's halfway through the run. In the last issue, before it took a vacation for the last year and some odd month so far, they killed one of the main characters. Cliffhanger much. So it will probably eventually get made. But the other thing that is being made currently, I'll go grab that issue. It was the story that led me to start reading all that. This is one where I think you were telling me about this a little earlier, saying, you know, I really love your art, or I really love your writing. I was like that to Brian K. Vaughan.
Yeah, I love Why the Last Man.
So I went up to him and I did the same thing. It's like, I'm stuttering at this point. I really love your comic book. Like, thanks.
Rob, did you read Paper Girls?
I have, yes. Only the first 6 issues, because I wound up with 7 and 8, but then I have 9 through the rest of it.
Okay. Well, you're in for a treat. Paper Girls is awesome, man.
I need to get the actual issues.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. Read them however you want. Do you want the actual issues?
When I get the actual physical issue, I have more excitement about it than going, well, I can just go to readcomics.to. Yeah, I know that's the free service, which you should not afford it. But if it's a very old issue, sure, I'll read that on a phone, or I'll read that on my actual computer, because I don't want to destroy the actual book. But if it's just a random issue of something that came out in the last few years, I'd rather just open that up and look.
Paper Girls is fantastic. I think that is a... I did like Why the Last Man, but there are like lots of pop culture references to music, which I think are really bad in comics. I just think it's awkward. And there are like some feminist things, which I don't mind, but again, it's like, okay. But I'm in the mind. Well, am I in the Morty? I mean, Why the Last Man is amazing. I'm not saying that it's not, but those were my issues with it.
I'll put it this way. If you keep a comic running as long as it does, everybody winds up running into a portion where, like Walking Dead, they hit a farm and stay there because it's easier for the writer to crank it out than to go, well, now I have to figure out how to write a new story structure. And that sometimes happens. Like even in Saga, they wound up running into this area where the wife was acting for about like 6 or 7 issues, and they weren't the best part of Saga. And even Brian K. Vaughan realized this. A lot of the people reading it weren't up to it a lot, and they moved on from it. So writers can get caught into a rut like anybody else. But if you're producing enough content, even Edgar Allan Poe can put a lot of crap out before he shits out a masterpiece like, well, we all know Edgar Allan Poe.
I like Saga, but it didn't blow me away like lots of folks. I think I quit it after like 30 issues. I think it's good though, but I don't know. Taste, all that, blah, 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 blah. But you love Saga, so.
I do. And while I can't exactly call anything from the Vertigo line independent, but apparently a lot of other people do, Sandman, I'm glad as hell that that's getting made, but I just saw that one of the people involved with it, I'm not so certain about. I can't remember the person's name anymore. I'm pretty sure it's along the lines of a David S. Goyer type of person, so I know something that's very metaphysical, something that's very literate. should not be handled by someone that wants to dumb down the source material. But the fact that you have Neil Gaiman writing Sandman, not just the comic, but the actual TV series, I'm looking forward to Preludes and Nocturnes. And they're already working right now on season 2 for Dollhouse. So just hearing that they're working on Dollhouse, it looks like they're going to be doing Sandman justice.
So they are doing the Sandman Dollhouse series?
They are.
Really? Wow. I have some first issues of that.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman just came out on Twitter the other day saying season 1 is already complete, and I'm already writing the Dollhouse portion of season 2.
Who's putting it out? I feel ignorant.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's either DC app or it might wind up going to the HBO Max now. It's a hard call.
It's probably HBO Max for the budget they need for something like that.
And they're going to be having to take a tour through hell where you have a demon say something that really hit me when I was a young kid. Because he had this guy that was he ruled countries, he murdered, he raped, he was one of the most awful people alive, and we don't know who he is because he lived so long ago. And Lucifer is releasing everybody from hell. He's like, but I did this, I did that. And he's like, little man, it has been 8,000 years since the last person on earth spoke your name. Be free. And he's gone. And I think about that applied to myself, applied to everything. It's like, you know what? It's going to be 100 years from now. And after I'm dead, it'll probably be decades and decades since the last person on earth spoke my name. Whatever it is, nothing matters. Don't let crap bug you so much. If it's not going to matter a year from now, 5 years, 10, 20, what does it matter now? I mean, Sandman influenced me so much. Undiscovered Country, I picked it up, but I did not read it yet. I know it's Scott Snyder, but it's also Sewell.
Yeah.
I wasn't so hot on his Daredevil.
When there is so much hype around the book, I don't mean to be a contrarian, and like I did I spent like $30 on books, so I was like, well, I can leave Undiscovered Country behind. I'll pick it up next week if I'm desperate to read it. Well, people are saying good things about it, but that's how I felt about it.
I'm one of those people where if I know in advance something is going to be a miniseries, I will probably not pick it up because this is how I feel about it. I see somebody making a miniseries. You're trying to solicit a movie. Great, go make your movie. I want to read a serialized comic book that comes out every single month that will have a long, engaging story, like Saga, like Y the Last Man, like Ultimate Spider-Man, like every core book that Marvel and DC puts out. It's sequential artists, sequelized storylines. It all ties back from older books as well as to new. Look forward to this. Also, this is happening at the same time with crosses over with these books. That's what makes me love comics so much, the interconnectivity. But when you just put out a mini series where you go, well, this is Elseworlds, good luck with that. I'll read it in the trade, or I'll read it 6 months after it has been concluded. Because these books that are coming out now, like the Who's Killing the Children or What's Killing the Children and Once Upon a Time, I forget the names of these things here.
Yeah.
5-6 issues.
No, I don't mind a miniseries. I really don't. There's this book, Berserker Unbound. Well, I'm going to talk about it, I guess. It's a Berserker. It's a Conan type character from Come on now. Whatever. So it's a Conan type character from another world. He gets chased into a cave. He's being chased by wizards and people that want to kill him. And he gets thrust into our world. And he meets a bum outside of New York City. They wanted in New York City. They have communication problems. They eventually make their way back to the forest, and that's where his antagonists have met him from the portal, and they're trying to attack him. But the bum, who he has befriended, his magic has no effect on them, and he slays them, and they leave together in harmony. And it was a 4-issue miniseries, and it was fucking awesome. It was beautiful.
Here's my stack of independent books from the last month. So, from the things that I am reading, I'm a little behind on it, but the Angel and the whole Buffy universe that's been going on lately, I've really been digging because it's the updated Buffy and Angel in modern settings. So instead of having a brick of a cell phone, it's actual iPhones.
Is that Boom Studio stuff?
They have it is.
Yeah, they make quality books, don't they?
That they do. I like the page layouts. I like the feel of the print. And
you can read them. You can read them without damaging them. I love that.
Yeah, unlike Saga, when I'm touching the book, if I touch it for longer than 2 minutes, the ink comes off. That's pretty much line wide on most Image stuff. Not so much on IDW, not so much on Boom Studios.
That is something incredible about IDW books and Boom Studio books, the quality of the comics.
Now, here's something where I can say that the quality remained the same, but the quality of the paper went down. So Michael Fief is a local comic book artist that has been producing Copra. If you try and find some of the older back issues, like the first issue is $800 because they only printed, I think, maybe 100 or 200 of them. But Image just picked up the title of this. And for people unfamiliar with Copra, imagine if the Suicide Squad was written by somebody that didn't have to worry about copyrights, and he takes versions of a character and just modifies them to his element. And the artwork is very much in line with old Sin City, very Frank Miller influence, but more than anything, it's influenced by old John Ostrander, Suicide Squad. So if you're familiar with that, you're going to love Copra. But the page...
When did that come out? When did that come out? That looks familiar, but not recent.
This just came out about a month ago. Issue 2 just dropped, and I missed it because I just missed it. Now, here's another guy where he knows how to start a story, but he doesn't know how to end them. I read the initial series of the Chrononauts, and then he tried doing something where it was like everything together that he's been creating.
I read some of that. I thought it was okay. I didn't continue with it for whatever reason.
Now, this I've been picking up because, well, I've been trying to get a lot of the old Steve Gerber stuff. So after he created Howard the Duck and Marvel just took away a lot of the licensing rights from him, he didn't make any money from it. So he ran over to Eclipse and did Destroyer Duck. And in this issue was also the same first appearance of Gru. So that one I picked up for like $3 from a local flea market. Here's one of those series where I was saying before, I know it's not a mini-series, so I'm a few issues behind. But if anybody was a fan of Fushigi Yugi or those stories of stuck in another world and now you're in a role-playing game and shit happens for real. If you die in this game, you die in real life.
Yeah, I read the first issue of Die. I knew it was money, but I topped it. I don't know. I didn't think the art is competent, but I didn't think it was good as a story. It's doing very well. I mean, people are raving about the book too, so I'm missing out, I guess.
Now, this is one I'm pretty far behind too. These are the last 2 issues of Fight Club 9 and 10. So if you were fans of the original Fight Club, well, this is very different, like very, very different. But when you realize that Fight Club the book and Fight Club the movie were 2 very completely different beasts, and that Polinick was trying to merge the 2 so that it would be more palpable for comic book reading audiences that are more familiar with the movie. You're going to be confused reading Fight Club 2. 3, I'm waiting till they finish out the whole series. I think there's 2 more issues, and then I'll get on to it. Kick-Ass, I'm about to drop this one here. I can't keep reading it. It's just
appreciate the honesty.
it's one of those where I have 18 issues of this. I only read the first 4. And then they just started randomly choosing different writers and artists. And then Hit Girl is another one of those where I have all the issues. Kevin Smith started writing it. And all of a sudden he decided to write Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back as Hit Girl, because that's basically his run of Hit Girl. The entire movie of Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back is the exact plot to his Hit Girl.
Rob,
what?
I got to stop you. My wife is home.
Okay, last one. Pick this up. It's a book about tattoos and superpowers.
I have that in my in my read pile.
Middle West. Scotty.
I have a copy of Middle West somewhere. The title before though, you thought it was good?
Oh yes.
I'll read it. I'll read it tonight.
Yeah. Read Redneck. It's Donny.
I love Redneck. Donny Cates. I stopped after 10 issues though. I'm looking.
Read this.
I have that too. Is that Colin Bunn or Jason Aaron?
That is Jason Aaron. And lastly, for the things that I've been picking up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, cool, do read that. But Tommy Wizard Guns. This is a.
I have read that too. It's a book you have to read twice for real.
Yeah. They're only, I think, 2 issues in. If there's the 3rd issue, I haven't picked it up yet. But those are the independents that I'm reading. And you got to go. So, again, thank you for having me, Dan. If you want me back next week or whenever, just let me know in advance, and I'll try and make it happen.
Yeah. Rob, wow, this is way more organic than I thought it would be. This is what I want to do, like talk about plot stories. Is it good? Is it not good? Would you like it? Don't you like it? I mean, it's interesting, and it's what I desired this to be. And so I will be in touch. And thank you. Thank you, man.
Last thing to throw out there, sometimes we like buying things just to complain about them. And Brian Michael Bendis' Superman is one of them. This is all Superman I have not read yet. But I get it because I want to complain about it.
You think it's crap?
I am not liking Bendis' Superman.
Okay.
Sorry. But there are plenty of good things out there. Go read more comics. And if you have that stacked next to your nightstand, do start reading it tonight, everybody.
Thank you, Rob. We will talk soon. Peace out.
Have a good afternoon.
Everyone.